Thank you, family. Welcome back to another Soso Walking in Wisdom. And on this platform, it's dedicated to everything character. It's about character building. And we use the vehicle of Nollywood movies to tell not only the story, but break down the characters of what's being portrayed by your favorite Nollywood actors and actresses. And remember, family, we said it takes an entire village or a team because together, everyone achieves more. So when it comes to these movies, we have seen it's more than just the actors and actresses and producers. If we look at the BTS behind the scenes, we know it's an entire cast. And for that, we do thank you for bringing powerful content to YouTube. It's certainly a way a sister in Christ looking to spend some time away from work, a time away from the troubles of this world, where we could certainly just look at something that provides a lot of lessons learned. And we know Sonia Uche herself is one producer and actor that when she comes on screen, you must stop. So today we can continue to cheer her on as she continue to fight for her beliefs in so many diplomatic ways. At the same time, she is also pushing forward with her movies, telling her story, speaking a mind, but soaring like an eagle and speaking pearls of wisdom. Today, she's at 1.05 million subscribers with 76 videos. And for that, we thank you. And she continues to share those of others as well. Today, we're going to discuss the movie Trust Issues. So if by chance you have not seen Trust Issues, please be sure to do so. We're going to dissect it. We took a little break as we celebrated our feast days, and as a result of that, we are able to come back stronger, better than ever. Today's movie and discussion is indeed Trust Issues. Very well played by Sonia Uche, being a very pregnant wife. The handsome Chike Daniels. Why can't you watch it just for the handsome Chike Daniels? And he did deliver as a very patient spouse, very patient with a mother-in-law until. If you haven't seen the movie, be sure to do so. And of course, we have to give it out to the mother-in-law played by Chioma Nowusu. She was hysterical. Now, in this particular movie, it gave me pause just because the trust issues were really too much. But as a leadership coach, I'm saying, well, who really had issues? Was it the mother-in-law or her mother, right? Chike Daniels' mother-in-law or Sonia Uche's mother in the movie, or whether it was the wife and she was not aware of it. Because sometimes if someone is able to come on the outside into a home, it's because there is an open window or door somewhere for you to penetrate, including if you're a man or woman of faith, we know that there are spirits that's out there. So the spirit of fear, the spirit of deception, the lying spirit, the cheating spirit, the deceptive spirit. So if you're not prayed up, family, in this world that we live in, yes, and if you leave anything open for spirit to navigate, they will take that opportunity. So today, indeed, we're going to look at trust issues. And again, if you have not subscribed to Sonia Uche Television, please be sure to do so. Fan out. Let's make it 2 million strong. And I'm coming from Soso Walking in Wisdom. It's a relatively new platform. I think we're going to celebrate our 2-month anniversary, and we're slowly getting there. So I thank all of those of you who are responding, even with the shorts, we're getting the views there. So absolutely. And if you have not responded to what your favorite Sonia Uche television for the month of, I think, September, if you have not responded to Chinanebe's, her sister, favorite movie, please be sure to do so. And of course, we have actually, when you go to our videos, we have several movies that we have done character analysis for, and it's doing fairly well. Again, it's new people, they're trying to grasp the essence behind this. But I would tell you the 4 reasons you should subscribe to this. If you're a man or woman of faith, please subscribe. Put the thumbs up so to drive the algorithm. If you're Sonia Uche fan of Nollywood, and you believe these individuals should be applauded for the work that they do and the storyline and the script and the acting, please be sure to subscribe because we're going to bring it throughout the diaspora indeed. Another reason you should subscribe, you're on your faith walk. Now that you know better, you desire to do better, you desire to elevate, you desire to level up, you desire to soar like an eagle. And rather than spending hundreds and thousands of dollars with a leadership coach or going to a psychologist or psychiatrist of some sort, if you're a man or woman of faith, understand that you were not given a spirit of fear, but a power of love, strong, and a sound mind. And what we do on this platform in terms of breaking down the characters, we are saying, and as a leadership coach, we're making recommendations for your consideration. And if your favorites are presenting you with complex characters and you can relate to, either from that of a family member or yourself, we encourage you to self-reflect. Because we say that self-reflection builds self-awareness, which will allow you to self-correct and self-check. So with faith, and with fun looking at Nollywood and then doing the work. We're called to be not just hearers, but doers of the word. If you put in the work, guaranteed you'll begin to make some changes, but you have to be intentional. You have to be intentional that I want to do better. You have to look at that man and woman in the mirror. So while we're having fun, we can learn and grow. And that's overall what your celebrities are asking for. So these are some of the movies we have done so far. We also asked some questions and we got in a little bit further in just in terms of um, the whole Nollywood, I think, concept of shipping, bringing their favorite celebrities together. If you have not seen the videos for that, please do so because it's not so much that shipping is wrong. If it becomes toxic and you don't know the fine line between reality and what you're putting together, and you're really beginning to become an assailant and hurt people and hurt your favorite loved ones, that's a problem indeed. Also, we spoke about Nollywood faves and we spoke about the concept of Illuminati. Right. If you have not seen this particular one, do so. Like Sonia Uche have stated, she is not one. So we're going to take her word for it. But we know here in the West, when many celebrities go out to the public and give the sign, that is soon going to be followed by some sort of follow-up. So we just wanted to put cautionary tales out there to her public assistant or her PR firms in events that they're not aware. Right. So that's where that is. And in life, we've stated that not every money is good money. She has a talent and definitely the skill set to do it without help from the dark side. That's what we contend. And if you agree so, to do so. And if you agree with that concept, then go ahead and put the thumbs up as well. Leave your comment or your thoughts on those videos. We have also got into the discussion about Nash, that all Nash matters indeed, flat or curvy, and we loved it indeed. I love this particular movie. If you have not seen A Blessing television, looking at Favor and Fury, and we're the only one that compared it with the analysis that both Chinenebe and Sonia Uche did in terms of sisters working in Hollywood, working in Nollywood, my apology. If you have not seen this particular video, I encourage you to do so. It's about building that bond or rebuilding that bond with a sister. In the movie, the relationship was broken, and then we have the Uche Nancy sisters showed you how to do it, right, based on their candidate discussion. So this was very well done, and I hope to get more views on this one because it's about viewing it and then understanding the lessons learned as well. We also had a wonderful movie where Desert Gray commented on this one. Go ahead and look at the movie and view the comment that he made, appreciating the thorough analysis that we do. And it's absolutely true. It is indeed a thorough analysis that we do because we do consider it. So understand right here, he left his powerful appreciation of the analysis that we do. And for that, we say you're quite welcome. And if you would like us to view one of your favorite Nollywood movies, please go ahead, share with us, put it in the comment section, and I indeed will respond. And again, we're beginning to create some traction. Here we have one young lady. Shout out to Doreen Harriet, who placed her favorite Chinenebe movies, A Crown for Two, Promise Affection, Flavors of the Heart, and My Safe Space. And if you haven't watched those movies, we encourage you to go out and do so. But today we're going to zero in on trust issues. And why is this so important? Because in building, forging friendships, networks, relationships, it's very important. And we are living and working in a fake society where it's all about likes, likes, likes. And of course, unfortunately, a product like this is all about liking and sharing to drive your message on the big wide web, right? So we want people to subscribe and put a thumbs up to help drive the algorithm so more people could watch it, especially if it has a message that we're offering here on Soso Walking with Wisdom. So today we're going to look at a formula where someone with trust issues, and if they're transferring their trust issues to you, regardless whether it's a mother to a daughter, like in this movie, two sisters and their challenges, or a sister to a friend, or a sister to a brother, right? Or business associates, or family members, whatever that broken trust is in that person's life, why they're taking that trust and transferring it to you. And there, the question as a leadership coach, I will ask my clients is, why is this person so important in your life at this time, this age, that you would then even consider their trust issues and welcome it, give it an ear, not because you don't value their thought process, like if it's a mom or parent or best friend, but because the spouse or the other person, the third person in this particular relationship triangle, have given you no reason, zero reasons to mistrust them. And that's the point here. If someone has given you reasons, you may want to look into it. We're not here to bury our heads. But if they have given you no reason, don't allow a third person to come in, regardless of who it is, to show you reasons based on their own relationship. And that's really serious. So I asked the question, who really has the trust issues? Is it a mom? Which is clear. Yes, she does. But what about Sonia Uche's character that allowed the mom to infiltrate her mind in her thought process when she already had a beautiful connection with her spouse, which has given her no reason to mistrust him? And that was the heart of the issue within the movie. So if you haven't seen it, we encourage you to do so. So again, here it is. We have someone really, again, being a gatekeeper as the mom, and taking her past narrative as a mother and her experiences and her relationships and bringing it to her daughter's present reality. So we hope that today's action will give you kind of like a how-to guide on building emotional self-awareness, if that's you as a mom, and showing you, or the person that's carrying the real issues, and establishing clear boundaries indeed. So you certainly want to be able to um, you certainly want to be able to um, understand where these questions are coming from, understanding the boundaries. Someone is coming to you um, with information. Who, what, when, why, how. You are required to ask those questions. And if you don't have the evidence, if you don't have the receipts, the who, what, when, why, how. The who, what, when, why, how. Put it to rest, right? Some people would say where there's flame, there's fire. If there's no flame, if there's no smoke, if there's no tickle of anything, there's no crackling of wood, put it to rest so that you don't hurt your current relationship. Breaking trust, developing a sense of mistrust is harder to mend than to not have it broken to begin with. So you definitely want to identify the narrative, recognize that every person with trust issues is really talking about her or his past. And while you could acknowledge the pain, you must firmly reject that label or that narrative for you, your life, your situation. So it's also important to establish what I call a firewall boundary. As a person getting this information, especially in this particular movie, in Sonia Uche's character, she was close to like 8 months pregnant, right? And she shouldn't have be stressing herself out with these issues. Even if it was true, there's nothing you could have done about it until after the baby was born. And somewhere along the line, later on in the movie, she did convey that thought to her mom. There's nothing I can do until after my baby is born, if it's true, but it's not. So you want to really have what I call firewall boundaries. You must create clear emotional boundaries. And unless you're asking specific questions, you're not going to be playing postman or postwoman about your spouse or that other person, right? That person is not allowed to bring you that information unless you have the who, what, when, why, how as evidence or receipts. And it's also important when it comes to partnership and relationships, you have to choose your own narrative. Like everything in life, you have to be intentional and do not, um, again, gaslight you in any way, and do not transfer your issues or accept the transference of someone's issues on you. It's not your burden. You could be a friend, you could be a bestie, you could be a sister friend, whatever the relationship is, but you're not to accept someone's burden. If you're a woman of faith, a man of faith, we are called to cast our burdens onto Jesus Christ. It says, cast your burden onto me, not to the person who is another human who cannot hold on to your burden and theirs at the same time. So don't do it. And shift from accusation to inquiry. If you ever feel that there's doubt, family, do not withdraw or accuse. Instead, practice vulnerability and open-ended inquiry. So you must ask the question, right? That again, that will allow you to fulfill the who, what, where, why, and how. Who, what, when, why, and how. And it's better to try to get a better understanding of what's going on than to jump to conclusion. Because remember, what goes out, you cannot retract. You cannot retrieve and say, I'm sorry. Once the damage is done, it's out there, it's permanent. Hence, it's important that we know how to season our conversation with salt, according to Colossians 4, hold our tongue, and understand that death and life are indeed a power of the tongue. So be mindful of the power that you have. And then it's important to leave you with tips to securing really positive relationships. So you have to have a strategic response, family, to differentiate whatever conflict is coming from a third party or outside party. In this case, the outside party is clearly the mom, right? Even though it's a mother-daughter relationship, she's still an outside party when it comes to a covenant of marriage. So goal is to not fight with each other, right? You want to consider the narrative that's being described and find out why it's being done. So action. Whenever someone comes to you with a different narrative that you know, again, they have to present you with a who, what, when, why, how before you even running with it, including to your husband or the person that they're accusing, that's being accused. Have a radical transparency, right? A counter narrative. So the goal here is to deprive the person of any potential ground for accusations. One sure way of doing so is not having that person in your home. She should have been out of that house sooner rather than later, from my perspective. And if we're talking about respect, yes, we are called to respect our parents, and it is a commandment according to Exodus 20. At the same time, there's also respect for the covenant of marriage. And in a marriage, the Bible tells us that a man leaves his mom and dad, and the newlyweds cleave to each other, right? And that level of cleaving is no outside entertainment, no outside interference at all. So it's important that you have a counter narrative indeed, and ensure that there's no potential ground, no smoke, right, that can allow that narrative to have feet. Because if that happens, even though it's a slight bit, again, it's grounds for that then smoke becoming a big flame and destroying the house that you've built. So also empathy as a shield. You want to validate the feeling, but reject the fact. Understanding that you had this experience, your experience is not my experience. There's no evidence for it from what I've seen, and you have proven nothing to me. So all due respect, mom, friend, bestie, Please do not bring this to me. And if you love me and respect me, you will not. And that's why, from my experience also, if something comes in, first of all, it could be a lying spirit. We're living in a times where, according to Isaiah 5:20 says, you what the he that calls evil good and good evil, bright for light and brightness for darkness and darkness for brightness, right? And evil for good, good for evil. So it's really an upside down world that we're living in. And living in such an upside down world is easier for evil thoughts and spirits to infiltrate. So when you're thinking it's your idea, is the spirit because you open up yourself that's feeding you these thoughts. And if you're a man or woman of faith, you go to the Bible to see how it can be directed. And then you have to give that person grace and mercy. And regardless of what is being whispered in your mind and whatever narrative you're concocting, unless you have proof, there's no way you should run with that information. Sit and allow the dust to settle. It's much easier to hold on to that information, that false information, that than to be very hasty, presenting that information to someone who's not going to take it nicely and kindly, and you're going to just break another relationship. So don't do it. Really have a united front with that person. So codify your bounding strategy. And then you want to focus on the future, re-anchor the vision, the commitment you have for that relationship that you're trying to hold into. In this particular case, was the spouse, Sonia Uche and Chike Daniel's character. He said, if you trust me, you will do and understand that I'll never do this to you, and I have given you no reason to do so. And she told her mom, I trust my husband. And whatever reaction he has when you do X and you get found out, I'm going to support him, right? That's re-anchoring the vision. And she did exactly that. When that time came, and I'm not going to tell you, you have to look at the movie, you're going to have to see how it unfolds. But she did exactly that. She told her mom, if she continues this and you get found out, you're going to have to live with the repercussions. And that's exactly what happened. So well thought out. This was an excellent movie. Again, from my perspective, I was highly annoyed. But again, that's me being in the movie. And no one should allow a third party to come in, including if it's the in-laws, including even if it's for the first grandchild. You have to have a level of respect of the new home, which will not be like your own home. So you have to respect that. And that ties us to Uche Mubano movie. We did a character analysis earlier on when it looked at, when we spoke about the comparison that's being made between a mother and a father and the kids held them up in such great regard. I believe it was in Knock at Life. Yeah. If you have not seen the character analysis of this movie, where the children held the parents in such high regard, and they had such a sordid past that it required a level of forgiveness and repentance. Please be sure to do so. So it's likened to that, because everyone has challenges and issues. No one's life is perfect. It's how you choose to walk in the challenges, how you choose to move forward and redirect your energy accordingly. So this concludes, for me, the analysis for trust issues that Sonia Uche Television. Trust issues, of course, will be coming shortly with One Little Secret, and we'll be coming with that analysis shortly. But again, trust issues is at 1.9 million views, and for that, we thank you. And again, Sonia Uche is at 1.05 million subscribers. We thank you for that as well. And we encourage you to please continue to support us as we continue to build one subscriber at a time. And most importantly, it's about doing the work. So if you get a recommendation and you see that you're doing the work, please be sure to put it in the comment section based on a movie that you were discussing. Or if you have a question or if you have clarification, please be sure to put it. We would certainly bring a clarification. And I will also put in the description section, by chance, if you're interested in a free 30-minute virtual session just based on any of these movies or discussions to help you continue to level up. But personally or professionally, we welcome you using that free 30-minute session as well. Family, that's it for another episode of Soso Walking in Wisdom. And again, we thank you so much for subscribing. Please be sure to fan out, let everyone know that we're here. It's all about being better, one person, one member of the diaspora at a time, from the west to the east, to the north to the south. So wherever you reside, at the four corners of the earth, we want to bring our family members together, and we need to work on our attitude and our character before doing so. So again, wherever it is, we all have our challenges. If we work on them as we continue to meet and greet in the real world, I contend that the world will certainly become better and better with those interactions. Remember, partnership, regardless of what it is, it could be a business partnership as well, is resilient. So by implementing some of the strategies we recommended, you can certainly insulate the partnership you're certainly trying to correct and understand fully where it is coming from. Ultimately, family, if you consider um, family ultimately the challenges of life, and people come into our lives for a reason and for a season and for a time. And if you're a man or woman of faith, the scripture says that a man's enemy will be that of their own household. We need to be mindful of family members coming into a space and not be too liberal, while still respecting and honoring our elders, not be too liberal with that person, especially if they're coming with a spirit of deception, a spirit of division, and a spirit that comes with their negative experiences, because their negative experience may not be necessarily your negative experience. So this is certainly a worthy review in terms of the movie. And again, understand that we're all about doing the work. So if you're doing the work, also subscribe, put a thumbs up, and let us know about your progress. Again, thank you so much for listening to another episode. And as always, shalom.